such as sand, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You ask me why I love her? Well, give me time. I'll explain. Have you ever seen a Nebraska sunset or an Arizona rain?
Have you ever drifted on a bayou down Louisiana way? Have you ever watched a cold fog drifting over San Francisco Bay?
Have you heard a Bob White calling in the Carolina pines? Heard the bellow of a diesel at the Appalachia mines?
Does the coal of Niagara thrill you when you hear her waters roar? Do you look with awe and wonder at the Massachusetts shore?
We're men who braved a hard new world, first stepped on Plymouth Rock. And do you think of them when you stroll along a New York City dock?
Have you seen a snowflake drifting in the Rockies way up high? Have you seen the sun come blazing down from a bright Nevada sky?
Do you hail to the Columbia as she rushes to the sea? Or bow your head at Gettysburg at our struggles to be free?
Have you seen the mighty Tetons? Have you watched an eagle soar? Have you seen the Mississippi roll along the Missouri shore?
Go.
Have you felt a chill at Michigan when on a winter's day her waters rage along the shore in thunderous display?
Does the word aloha make you nice and warm? Do you stare in misbelief when you see that surf come roaring down at Waimea Reef?
From Alaska to the Everglades, from the Rio Grande to Maine, my heart cries out, my pulse runs fast at the might of her domain.
You ask me why I love her? I have a million reasons why. My beautiful America beneath God's wide, wide sky.
You know, I had to deliver mail to them and meals. And here comes a guy walk around and showing me the paper. And I said, well, I don't understand that. So I called a sergeant over there. I said, Sergeant, who's this guy over here? Oh, he said he'd been here about 3 days. We just ignore him. It turned out he was trying to become North Korea. The Chinese guy trying to become a prisoner.
One of the men got wounded and I took him into a trench, and there was a hole in this little cave I dug into the side of the trench, and I put him in there so he'd be protected, and I was in the door of the hole treating him inside, and a mortar round come in, exploded in the trench, and I caught a small piece of shrapnel.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, Bob.
We were having a lot of problems in the barracks on spinal meningitis. You can die from it, you know. When all of a sudden I felt real sick with a lot of fever. Took my body temp. I had 104 fever, and they put me in the hospital.
No, we took care of the stuff, everything on the deck of the ship. The boatswain, which is they take care of the deck. Started out in Norfolk, Virginia on a ship. We sailed to the Mediterranean a couple times. I think Gibraltar was the funnest place.
I was the fortunate one. I went to Germany instead of Korea. And their nickname was Hell on Wheels. I was fire control, firing on big guns like cannons. I was a surveyor. Well, if we were in active service, I'd be shooting at the enemy. These are 105s, howitzers, self-propelled. One fellow from the county I was born and raised in went to the same place I did.
And everybody worked hard. There was no fooling around. We really took it serious. I don't know if there was other places where they made the C-54. They might have made it in California too. Chicago was the main one for the airplane. How did I get in? Through here and back and then there.
Crawl in the wing? And they picked you to be inside because?
I weighed 98 pounds and I could get in there.
I joined the Navy to get away from home, and where they sent me to Astoria, Oregon. So about 80 miles from home. And they sent me to Hawaii to go on a destroyer. And they said, you can't serve on a, because of my eyesight, I couldn't serve on a combat vessel. So they put me on a tender vehicle that was maintenance and destroyers, and the little ships could come in for repairs.
They were going to send me to PCOM, Far East Command, in other words, Korea. I had been on the list to be drafted for the World War II, but then the war was over. When Korea started, why, I was first on the list. And I had just gotten married. They were going to send me to Korea with 6 weeks of training. In the Army, you did not do that. Well, my master sergeant asked me, he said, you never had any training other than what we gave you here this 6 weeks? I said, no. So he went to headquarters and got me out of going to FECOM. Well, the only thing they could get me into, everything else was filled, was supply school.
They had F-86s. I was a crew chief responsible for the aircraft on the ground. So he did everything. He had to have hydraulics, pneumatics, egress. I went through engine school and went through everything. Every school the Air Force had, I went through.
During the Vietnam era, but I didn't go to Vietnam. I went to Germany. Intercepted Russian and Czechoslovak military radio signals. No, I spoke German, but I had Czech and Russian linguists with me. It was all in Germany. I spent 1 year going to AIT training, advanced infantry training, but that's where I learned about radio and Russian radios and Czech radios.
In intelligence, to do intelligence reports, be transferred to Iwakuni, Japan, which was about 20 miles from Hiroshima. Anyway, I was sent down to Vietnam, and there was only 2 of us. I said, Gunny, I wonder why they're just sending the 2 of us. He says, well, Cross, because I'm the head NCOIC, you're in intelligence, and you can touch type. And he says, but you're the only one of the 36 of us that has always shot expert every year when you qualify for a rifle.
cruises to Africa and South America, and I made 2 cruises into the Mediterranean on the European side. Stop at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. We have a Navy base there. It's where we stop and train, and it's not fun. There's a big fence, and we stand guard on the pier 24 hours a day with rifles because they got rats as big as dogs down there, and the rats will come get you.
I was a pharmacist graduate, going into the military, being drafted. I went through the basic training and the advanced training with military police. Can you imagine that? Became a chemical officer because I had a lot of chemistry background. And from that point on, I went to artillery. I was a lieutenant, and I'm the only one of 6 in the world that were atomic officers with an atomic bomb in those days. Cannon, the big cannon, 20-inch cannon.
Thank you for our freedom.
Thank you for your service.
A girl fell in love with a soldier. She didn't worry when they told her of the sleepless nights and lonely days. How her life would change in so many ways. How her heart would break on a daily basis. How she'd cry enough tears to fill an oasis. Of developments of training and weekends in the field. Of how her deepest insecurities would all be revealed. She learned the art of how to hurry up and wait, and to adjust every few years to life in a new state. She learned to be flexible and roll with the punches, to change the oil and clog the sinks while still making school lunches. She's a mommy, she's a daddy, married but alone. She lives a life that revolves around her phone, waiting for the message, that email, that call. From her husband, her soldier, whom she loved most of all. She struggles, she cries, she's still confident and strong. She waits for her husband no matter how long. She often asked how she'd endure such a life and the rigors of being a military wife. She's just a girl who fell in love with a soldier who listened to what her heart had told her.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
There we go. Oh.